welcome back everyone to the LEC. It is time for the reigning LEC champions to take to the stage, KOI to enter the stage against Team BDS. Shout out to BDS's intro, the walking into the studio with the KOI.
Cooking up some memes for us.
That's so good. I hear they have a lot of special things prepared for us. But I guess, are KOI like endangered fish? Probably, right? They're like...
I don't know if they're endangered.
I don't know either.
I feel like there's a lot of them.
BDS started killing them.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
No. They're cooking them up.
It seems
That's
like
rough.
They are decorative fish, so
that's true.
But what if someone...
It actually works on so many different levels, right? Because...
Let's not have a philosophical debate
but their
about
conservation status is domesticated, actually.
Oh.
Which doesn't mean that like all the cats in the world could also. Never mind. This is we do have a small delay. This is why we're back here. But that gives us a chance to introduce this matchup. Here we see Adam on screen. We'll start by talking about KOI though. Winning in Malmo, of course, as Rogue back then. The big headline coming into this year being that Odoamne, who was part of that championship winning lineup, Vedi, had a great first game on stage. No longer on the lineup, placed by Szygenda, who we know previously from Vitality and other teams, of course. So what is your first inkling as to how they're going to appear here in Winter?
Well, I earlier in the day, I commented that I believe that Rogue should... It's going to take us a while. KOI,
everyone gets one today.
KOI should look strong off the bat. I believe that... we talked about the pillars before. Last split, I felt like that when you have Comp, you have Larssen, and you have Odoamne as these three reliable, consistent pillars in terms of their carry performance and what they bring in the laning phase and how they team fight. These were players that you could, in a best-of-1 environment, could consistently expect to perform at a very high level. Losing one of those pillars doesn't mean that I suddenly lose faith in their ability to play that way. I still have so much faith in Larssen's laning ability. I still think that Comp is the best performing AD carry based on last split, and I expect that level to maintain, especially retaining this bot lane of Comp and Trymbi. Szygenda, we know domestically has looked good. I think that the general sentiment around him as a player was that we never really got to see him set up for success when we saw him play for Vitality in his previous stint in the LEC. The problem is that his playstyle is different.
Yep.
And this then brings into question, is this a good or a bad thing for KOI? Is this what they needed? Did they need more options on the top side of the map? Did they feel that Odoamne couldn't be that hyper carry that Szygenda can be? Or is it in fact that they felt that Odoamne just wasn't fitting in the team and they found Szygenda as a good alternative, but then does he actually provide what he needs for this team? This is the big question mark around what this new KOI will look like.
Clearly, if we know about the context, it means that they wanted to make a change, right? If we read kind of between the lines.
But if the question is like, oh, do we need this? Like, they just won the LEC, right? Like, it's not like they're looking for like the missing puzzle piece that'll finally make them a top team. This team was incredibly good. But at the same time, like, I do think we kind of have to move beyond that just a little bit, right? Like, we know Odoamne is out of the picture, and now, like, the small question is, will Szygenda be able to perform all the way on the LEC stage on a top team? I'm not personally concerned about that, but there is going to be a big challenge because I think we have a couple new top laners entering the league this year, a lot of hype around more aggressive top lane options. Top lane historically been very weak for the LEC, so everyone's kind of excited. I think Odoamne was talking earlier on Ready Check about like, hey, maybe some of these new players can try to elevate the rest of the league. Szygenda is also going to be in that conversation now, just joining a roster as stacked as KOI.
The interesting thing is, Szygenda has found himself in basically an ERL fight right now. You've got BDS Academy largely being elevated up to the LEC. And remember that in the past, he was playing alongside Comp on Vitality. Like, these are all players that he's very familiar with. This is an environment that he's comfortable in. And I feel like that Szygenda, for his debut game, this is probably one of the best opportunities he could have.
The irony is he got smacked in the ERLs by BDS, who just throwed a bunch of their boys.
So we're going to see BDS up against them, and maybe the same thing happens. We'll see. But Team BDS indeed promoted multiple players from their academy team and this season, and one of them is our jungler Sheo, who joined us for a newcomer interview.
So hello guys, I'm Theo, known as Sheo, Boril. I'm coming from France, and I'm the jungler for Team BDS. So I started League of Legends in Season 3, when I was like 11 years old, and I became pro 2 years ago in 2020. I did Division 2, then last year LFL, and now I will be in LEC. My playstyle, I think I like to react to enemy junglers if they do mistake, if they crit for a gank or something like this. I will look to to cheese him later, or I like to gank as well, to cheese gank people so they get mad and they hint maybe. I mean, I used to be a Echo one trick, so I will say Echo. But right now, maybe Wukong. I like Wukong a lot. I mean, I'm excited to play against G2 because it's like a really big horde in Europe. Then they have Yike. So I played against Yike in Division 2 LFL. So I will play against him again, so it will be fun. So in my free time, I like to read manga and listening to music as well, French rap. I like it, and do some sport.
Excited to see what Sheo can do here on the big stage. Of course, heard a lot about KOI from the analysts. Let's talk a little bit more about BDS. You heard Vidius allude to it. BDS Academy last year, the team that you need to know about, because 3 out of 5 of the pieces you're seeing play on stage today are the same from that lineup. Promoted 3 of those players. When we look at that lineup, when we look at that roster, pretty impressive results in the ERL, I would say. They were not the dominate literally everything, but they came close, getting a lot of second places and a lot of names you may recognize.
Yep. Crownie, of course, was on Vitality, replaced Comp a couple of years ago, and Comp then went through the ERLs back to the LEC, and then he found himself winning a championship. Adam, I think everyone knows Adam from the Fnatic days, you know, where he would pick things like Set and Darius and then roam mid-level 3 of the worlds, trying to get his mid laners ahead, like Niski. Erdote was on that academy team with Reeker, but of course they were not the ones promoted up. It was Nuke, who has changed his name from NUCLEARINT, and Labrov coming over from Vitality. So interested to see how it will do. I think BDS highlighted it's basically BDS Academy with Nuke, of course, coming, and then Labrov. So rookies, low expectations, high ceiling, hopefully, for BDS. I think a rebuild is what they needed. Academy team almost won a EU Masters, so definitely a good prospect to go for.
Well, and we talked about it on the Euphoria podcast. Last year was a year that it's best for BDS to forget, move on, fresh project, fresh start, and I really think that they've done that with this roster. It is, outside of Nook, very much a completely different team. Labrov coming in as well. He's a guy that we've looked at. He's no longer a rookie by any means, but a guy who's had a lot of promise as support, maybe can find his footing here on this team. And I'm just curious to see what they're going to be able to do. Expectations, I think, for most people are pretty tempered. This is not a team that you would bet on right off the bat, but really want to see how high that ceiling goes. See if they can hit the ground running, because again, we've talked about it so many times today. In this format, you come out with a good first and second week, your split's made. You made top 8. That's it. That's all that matters. You're sailing.
Yeah. And I think every day one of every split is just testing the waters, see how the newcomers perform. For KOI, it's Szygenda. How well does he fit into this team who just came off the back of winning a title? And how well does his style fit into the team? Odoamne very flexible. Szygenda maybe leaning more towards the carry play style. Does Malrang like to visit top more? How does their bot lane adapt? We will have to see. So a lot of questions to be answered, and I don't think the first game will answer any of them. I think it's going to take a couple of weeks to see where these teams sit, how these players perform, what their styles and tendencies are. I think we just know for certain that the KOI 4-man roster strong of the jungle towards the support is probably the best in their roles, arguably top 2, top 3.
I think that's the struggle of best of one, and especially day 1 of best of ones, is how much do you actually take away from it? And it's really good that you highlight that this is, you know, a drop of water in a bucket overall in terms of what this year is going to be for BDS.
So philosophical.
I don't know. I was trying to say flash in the pan. That is not right, dude. I'm mixing a lot of metaphors today, so I'm just trying to be a little conservative with them. We'll have to see what it means. I think for KOI, there's actually a lot of pressure. Szygenda maybe less so. I mean, he is filling in for Odoamne. It is his first big game on stage, but for the other 4 players, you're coming in as returning champions. And if your name is not Fnatic or G2, I think for most fans it feels, to bring up the metaphor I said before, like a flash in the pan. It feels like this one-time thing when you win a split. For Mad Lions, it was 2 back-to-back in a single year. For KOI, the question is, can they keep that going? We just saw G2 in the previous game. They're looking pretty good, confident, so confident that Mickey X is talking about Worlds already. And obviously that was a pretty loaded question, and it's very early in the year. Mickey. Yeah, let's all take a breath. Very far away from any international competition, but this is a kind of confidence that you want to see if you are a KOI fan mirrored on stage today.
Definitely, I can see the players just getting ready. We'll go backstage soon, just making sure all the settings are in order, everyone's happy. There's Trymbi,
and then we'll bring them out again.
And they'll bring them out again.
With flashing lights.
And they'll look epic and heroic. And then they'll jump straight into the game. A lot of question marks. We'll see how they do. But like I said, I think a lot of people have KOI just because of the 4 players that have remained as, you know, S tier, one of the best teams in the league. It's just about showing that. And it's just opposites. I think KOI are here to show that they're still in form, and BDS can't really finish lower than 10th or 9th that they've done over the last couple splits. So there's no real pressure on these rookies, you know.
I think, and that's the case. And I think ultimately when you're looking at goalposts for different teams, it's going to be different. For KOI, it's winning the split because they won last split. And for BDS, it's making top 8 and starting there and going from there and taking it one game and 1 week at a time. And, you know, when you're talking about pressure early on for a young roster like BDS, for all these guys who maybe they have some bigger stage experience in the case of players like Adam, in the case of players like Labrov or Crownie, you still, or Nook.
You're right, actually. I've been saying the word rookies all this time.
Well,
but
I mean, it's kind of like a reset. I think almost for sometimes for their sake, I feel like you should give them that same, like, not low expectations, but that same level of forgiveness, because this is an opportunity for them to, like, rewrite their story. Because these are not guys that are like, wow, how did they not find a team? They're on that list of guys where you're like, okay, I could see them finding a team. I could see them maybe not finding a team. And again, to change that expectation, to find that redemption arc, I think is a huge and super cool opportunity for players who have had mixed success in the past.
Yeah, I think it's a redemption arc, really, isn't it? Adam coming back from Fnatic. Labrov was just next to so many superstar names that it's really hard to shine when there's people so bright next to you, and that roster even struggled, so pointing fingers becomes complicated because all these players have achieved so much and you haven't, so obviously everyone just starts leaning in that direction, but now he's got a chance to prove that it wasn't him. Crownie, similarly, on the Vitality days, needing a shot caller, a very vocal player. We'll see how he performs on this team. But with the meta right now, it looks very bot-centric. Everything looks like it's revolving around bot lane.
True. We've also seen one game, so we'll see how each individual team wants to play it. But I'm inclined to agree, just the sheer amount of hard CC setup. We didn't see any of the more, let's say, less CC, more supportive focused supports, like a Lulu, like a Karma, like a Yuumi. Instead, we saw a lot more of the engage setup, kind of pick potential supports like the Jhin, like the Heimer. I want to see more of that personally. I just hate Karma, Yuumi, and Lulu. I think
Shield.
Yeah.
Heal.
It is very skill expressive gameplay in terms of raw 2v2. But I don't care. Like, I want to watch people kill each other, not like move 50 pixels forward and then suddenly some analyst is going to tell me, in this case you, wow, look at his great movement in lane. Like, it's not...
I think everyone gets the point of how these champs work now. Where's the Leona Nautilus? Where's the flash in level 1? Ooh, the spooky music, the lights have dimmed. Does that mean we're ready for game 2? Intro time. Do we talk during the intro?
Ooh, and here we go. Moments away from Champion Select. 2 new teams sitting from the stage looking snazzy in their brand new uniforms. Mayor Trymbi giving a wave to his people.
I like the smoke, I like the lights looking all epic in these jerseys. KOI, their first debut game in the LEC. Of course, Ibai will be watching it on his own stream. Eyes on the prize for this team, looking for another trophy. How well will Szygenda fit in? How well will the redemption arc of BDS play itself out in this first split? Every win is so important in these next 3 weeks. Best of ones to get to the top 8. And BDS is a team that is fighting for that top 8. For KOI, it's just expected. A bare minimum.
Bare minimum. Top 4, really, actually, the bare minimum, which is a lot of pressure for Szygenda. For the rest of the players, you think they have to be used to it now. Again, when we look back at KOI, previously Rogue, they were regular season best of 1 kings. First, second, third, they were always in top placers. See if they can mirror that in a shorter season. And with a new lineup here, or at least a new top laner, as we get to picks and bans, Darius banned away. You love to see it. That's for your boy Adam on the opposite side.
He's laughing. Adam's having a little giggle. Is he going to ban away Olaf as well or something? Just make sure that they don't have to deal with it. I mean, if they're looking to play something like, for example, GP, Olaf is really annoying, especially on blue side. Maybe we'll see that on the 4-5 bans.
I feel like that might be some LFL trauma ban there for Szygenda. I think maybe he's had a few too many losses to the old Darius in his time.
Yeah, not playing against that one again. And it was Adam's Darius that sent Fnatic to Worlds last time, if you think back to up against Wunder on Camille. Very intense best of 5, but here we are a couple years later. Now 2023 season, Lucian Yuumi taken away, Varus taken away. Zeri Lulu could be pretty strong right now. Debates across the board. How will Malrang fit into this jungle meta? I think Wukong, yes, his wheelhouse. We saw his Lee Sin at Worlds, Knight's Vow, Electrocute, wasn't a fan. But he's more of like the Jarvan Trundle player. Is he just going to play Jarvan Trundle anyway, you think? Just pick it? Yes?
I know it as much as you know it. Malrang is a man of unwavering confidence.
In a farming jungle meta, he picks Jarvan. In
This
a
is the
ganking
kind of
jungle meta,
guy
he
who
picks
could
Jarvan.
roll up to a wedding in a t-shirt and jeans and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know? He's never underdressed. He's
Acting
dressed
casual.
exactly as he means to be dressed.
So
There's no way that's real.
No, it's not. No way. There's the Ryze first pick. We'll see the new Ryze in action here. Oh my god, I thought he got locked in for a second. Oh my.
Heimerdinger locked in alongside Jhin. All right, so Jhin most likely going to take the carry position. Will be farming with the Heimer now acting as support. So taking both the Heimer and the option against the Heimer away, but it's going to put Crownie and Labrov on a more utility-focused bot lane. Not really a high damage profile unless they get wildly far ahead.
Which one do you think is going to be? Do you think Jhin will be the AD carry in this one? Or will
I think, well, you know what? I'm ready for anything.
We've seen Jhin support.
Here we go.
Here we go. Jarvan is,
Okay.
is maybe a Sejuani. Yeah, it's going to be a
That's still
Sejuani. Another champ that's been quite high prio in the LPL and the LCK. Surprised Maokai hasn't been picked up yet. We'll see if Sheo wants to go for that on 3. But Heimerdinger priority seems to be the LEC favorite. Will they pick a bot laner here? I mean, there's nothing they can really pick to get push Varus is down. They could go for something like Karma and then hope for an AD carry on 4-5 like Ezreal and try to push in, but nope, that's going to be a Sejuani
Just
Renekton.
entire topside. Comp and Trymbi just getting thrown to the wind. Okay, so you guys don't understand how funny this is. We prepped a graphic for Adam's Olaf, and our stats guy said it would not happen. It would be a waste. But this man does not disappoint.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. He's just going to pick Olaf into Renekton Sejuani. Sacking jungle a bit here, they could ban away things, like I said, the Maokai or any kind of setup jungler for the Olaf. But that's going to be a bit difficult for the Sejuani Renekton. You know, you've got all this chain CC layer, but at level 6, he's just going to keep hitting you. And Adam is no stranger to this champ whatsoever. A couple mid bans coming in as well. We'll see if Syndra gets taken away from Nuke.
Definitely like it as a way, especially to just run through the potential front line of Renekton Sejuani. But now Sivir and Zeri, the remaining 2 premier AD carry options alongside the Varus. We're really deep now in the AD pool. Ashe is still up and available, but it's still going to be tough to match this Jhin Heimer as you highlighted. Going to have to dig deep.
I don't know if... I mean, they could play Ashe support. Just trying to think what AD carry they could pair it with. I mean, Ezreal Ashe is not something you really want to run.
Helios, maybe?
Helios, Ashe. And I think normally you see things like Ashe support picked here. I mean, Ashe Karma wouldn't be great either, but we'll see what they opt into. There's the Viego ban. I mean, there's not really any value left for BDS in this draft in terms of counter picks. You see their full top side, they see your full bot side. It's just responses now. Do you respond with something like the Syndra? Do you respond with something like the Maokai? What direction do they want to go in? They need some kind of setup to assist these side lanes. One wants to push, and one is in an absolute fist fight up against a pig and a crocodile, but that's going to be a bird. Azir locked in for Nuke.
All right, just old McDonald over here, just building this little farm. Thank you, Mark Lamont. We got Azir now locked in for Nook, and I think this is going to be interesting, obviously going up against Larssen. Wow, English is hard for us both today. Against Larssen, when he's playing the Ryze, is going to be a tall task. Ryze, another one of those champions who was buffed so much by the changes to the itemization for Archangels as well as for Roa. And the final option here, Bard, very good against the Heimer and Jhin once you get out of the early lane. The early lane's still a struggle. Bard, level 1, notoriously strong.
You would love a little Bard on day 1. It's your favorite.
I do feel like they're going to get bullied if they pick it, so they're not going to pick it. Instead, they're going to pick the Ashe, which is fair.
They heard you for a second.
Post level 6, it would be sick. You just ult that Heimer and he just gets one shot. Feel great.
Okay, so there's the Ashe support. They paired it with Ezreal, so we'll have a little bit of poke. Here comes the jungle last pick. Lockdown would be great. Ezreal Ashe, very kind of long-range pokish champions. You need some kind of gap close vibe. Will get the job done. So interested to see where both these teams focus. There's only one melee champ on the KOI's draft with the Sejuani. Normally you like to have, like, you know, Renekton, Nautilus, something like this to help you pair up with the stacks, but now it's just Renekton, Sejuani. So top side might be the focus, but bot push is really important. So level 6, maybe that's when Malrang pays a visit, and we'll see how mid-prio goes. I feel like Sheo has a couple more options.
Yeah, and I'm curious how Trymbi's going to play this Ashe, because Ezreal is one of those characters that you can usually just leave him alone in a lane. That becomes much less true at level 6 when there is a Vi in the game, when there's a Jhin in the bot lane. So want to know what the value they're going to get out of here, because Team BDS invested a lot in picks and bans in securing this bottom lane. So it really needs to pay off. They really need to find a way to make it work. And on the opposite side, top side, Szygenda coming in on the Renekton. This is a champion that he played very well even when he was playing in the LEC against Adam's Olaf. Definitely a signature pick. Could not have asked for a better top lane matchup in terms of individual comfort.
Yeah, the first test, the first boss in the temple. He's got a long way to go to fight all of these different bosses, but it's Adam's Olaf in round 1 up against, well, with a Sejuani by his side, so that helps a lot, but up against Sheo on the Vi. But focus is where I'm looking at. You talked about draft, where one team focuses top side, one team focuses bot side. Will we see a similar kind of thing in game? Just complete split map trade-off, one side diving the other?
Also,
just as an aside, not to just only talk about Malrang this cast, but what is Malrang going to do in this meta? Because we just watched the Graves power farm. Shout out to Yike. We'll find out as we get into game. Game 2 coming up. Okay. Well, I guess I could talk about Malrang more. The crowd cheers. Okay.
So
no? All right,
day one growing pains, you know. Happens.
Yeah. So there are a couple gauntlets that need to be passed in the LEC. One of them for mid laners leaning against players like Caps, obviously a big deal.
Final boss.
One of them is a new boss, a different kind of boss, and that is the Malrang boss, which is that he doesn't play jungle like anyone else.
So
he does things, and it always works, despite how crazy it is, until, of course, international, where it doesn't work as well. Firebag?
He said it on the hand warmer. It looks so cool.
Oh.
No, carry on. I just wanted to...
Yeah, anyway, so I'm just saying, for Sheo, I'm ready to see how he does this. Is he going to be the kind of guy who farms? Is he going to be the kind of guy who matches crazy with crazy? Because I think that if you want to go far, if you want to go deep into the tournament, you got to have a plan against Malrang. Because even when he's 30 CS down, he's died 2 times, he's going to EQ ult you as Jarvan at least once in your career and win a game.
And then stopwatch and refuse to elaborate. It's going to happen. I mean, you think back to last year where everyone's like, yeah, Malrang's playstyle, all he does is gank.
Every
it's
jungler
so
we talked to,
yeah.
every jungler we talked to was like, nah, people are going to figure it out. It's not going to be good. He won the season, Mark.
And then his interview afterwards, he's just like, so Malrang, how did you defend the base? And he says, well, I just go in. And that's all he said. But it's true. 9 players boot up League of Legends, 1 player boots up Ganking Simulator, and that's Malrang. We'll see. He laughed at that joke. That was funny. He liked that one. So we'll see how he does it with the Sejuani. A bit tricky to go for level 2 ganks on Sejuani. Still doable with QW, but things like Jarvan and Trundle are much easier. So we might see him do 3 camps before he does instead of 1 and then gank.
Really mixing it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. So we'll see what this issue is. Not sure what, but it's mostly tech issues. We've had kind of like, you know, the players getting their mouse comfortable, making sure the settings are good, making sure everything works.
And players are readjusting their settings. And for many of these players, they have new versions of the same exact keyboards or mice or peripherals that they have at home. So they're unboxing them for the first time today. I saw that behind stage. New copies for the year, fresh keyboard,
clean,
no bad juju, you know.
What?
Yeah.
No bad juju.
There's no bad, you know what I mean? Like if you lost on a keyboard for a year, competitively, are you really going to bring that keyboard back?
It's got like fist imprints from when you punched it and like, you know, you feel really comfortable with it.
Because you don't know this, but like, so American baseball, which I find to be the most boring game ever imaginable, but it has great stories. One of them is it's incredibly superstitious. So like if a guy wears a jersey when he goes in, you know what I mean? And it's unwashed. He's like, that's why we won.
That's the analysis.
Yeah, and then and they're like, is he wearing his stinky jersey today? Because if not, they're gonna lose the game. So I'm just saying, don't
superstitions.
Don't doubt the keyboard juju. That's my only point.
The keyboard juju. Is there mouse juju as well?
I don't know. I don't make the superstitions, but we can ask the players if they have any superstitions.
Szygenda's wearing a jacket.
Again,
Larssen
if he wins wearing that jacket, they have to wear that jacket every time.
This is why we have the shoes discussion. Do you wear shoes or not? It's just pure superstition. Right, into game we go. KOI versus BDS, game 2 of week 1 of day 1 of the LEC 2023 Winter Split.
Wow.
Yeah,
mouthful.
A mouthful. Ooh, there's we got. What was it?
We talked about.
No, it was Sting.
It was Heimerdinger.
Heimerdinger.
I thought it should be Heimerdinger.
Still keeps his walk though. Nice little hop.
There it is.
Gonna put the towers down. BDS are just here to cover to make sure that the towers can be placed for this level 1 push.
And this is the strategy we talked about in game 1 that we ultimately didn't see too much of. But securing those towers, just making sure that the BDS bot lane can have total control early on. And a good thing too, contesting comp in the brush, they're gonna know what is the actual response here from the side of KOI. I don't think there's a lot you can do once the towers are laid down.
They're just gonna stand there.
Menacingly. Nice.
Malrang doesn't want to drop the ward, it seems. Maybe he goes in later, because obviously the ward will stay for longer. But it looks like KOI don't want to respond yet. Comp running the TP in this lane, thinking that he's going to get pushed in really hard and get a couple trades on his head. He wants to make sure he can TP back to be able to withstand this push.
Yep. Ultimately, ready to see how this shakes out. Ezreal
as a champion with tier early on. That just says you're conceding the lane to me. Crownie taking boots, though, I do like. That much more aggressive on the trading. Spell Thief's Edge. Obviously going to make the poke that much easier for Labrov.
Kind of say that Ryze skin makes him look like what? Robin Hood. Looks like a green archer.
Can you pronounce Robin Hood for me one more time?
Robin Hood.
You have a great voice.
Oh, thank you.
Adam,
well, here comes the Olaf classic.
doing Olaf
Ryze gonna get me top laner.
Szygenda, you banned the Darius, but there's still one more champion. That was fun.
Yeah, and he's gonna continuously do that every single time. Q through the wave, pick it up, get towards level 2, and of course he'll push the wave as well. I think Szygenda ideally wants to keep the wave near his tower so he can't get walled in. Adam, of course, the lower HP gets the happier he is, but okay, you can level 2 gank on Sejuani.
Oh, hold that thought, we're gonna talk about
Adam's
Olaf.
Dead Olaf. Malrang proved me wrong. Szygenda's only job is to not die.
Does Adam know that he has to all in here? He's ghosting. It seems to have sniffed it out. Q already now used. The W can slow him down, but he's ghosting. Are they actually going to be able to chase him down? The phase rush from Malrang. One more on him, but he does have E. He doesn't even take W. He's a psycho.
I take it back. I take it back. You can't level 2 gank on anything. He's done it on Sejuani. QE. His clear is abysmal, but he's done red into top, and it's worked. Malrang always finds a way.
And that's the thing. That's the Malrang test we talked about. You never know where he's going to appear. Think of the craziest idea you can possibly think of, and Malrang will probably do it. But now, Sheo, on the way in, level advantage. He needs to punish here. He needs to get something back.
Have you ever seen the film Now You See Me? You know, he gets the kill, but now here comes the best part. He doesn't get punished for it. We'll see if he can steal away this blue from Sheo and then lose nothing. Is he a magician, Malrang? Is Sheo gonna dive on top of him? Adam's on the way. He's on a timer. No, he won't.
Not a magician.
Not very magic today.
Just
Maybe
a lady
t-shirt.
riding a Poro.
Maybe he needs to wear his jacket. Superstitions. Now Sheo's gonna look for the Gromp. This is really bad for Malrang. He's down 3 camps right now.
Yeah. This is the best part about a Malrang game, though, is you just, it's always going to be something. There is never a quiet early game.
No.
So you're now going to try to back him up, maybe just support him, pay back the difference now that his jungler gave him that assist. Contesting this, though, is a little bit risky, as Azir is already in the mid lane, but Szygenda just going to walk in and bully him off. Is he even going to take it, or is he just going to donate it to Malrang? No, looks like he will grab that one for himself.
Looks like he will take it. Malrang still level 2, has base. Of course, the gold from the first blood is great, but the experience he's lacking right now is what hurts the most. He needs to get level 3. Doesn't have W, which is really good for the clear. E does a lot of damage as well, but it's very single target damage. So Gromp and Blue, easy going towards Raptors, maybe a little bit more difficult. Sheo didn't have Smite to contest Szygenda on that crab, so he's going to pick up the bot crab instead. Still a couple more camps for him to clear. Bot push, really important.
Ooh, big damage.
Gets a good trade.
And Labrov not able to have quite the same impact on the Heimer so far in the early game. Trymbi and Comp sitting pretty comfortably. Yes, they don't have push. Yes, so far it is a 7 CS lead for Crownie and Labrov, but Comp and Trymbi holding on.
Larssen had to use the TP back. Nuke hasn't used his just yet. Ryze, of course, will struggle a little bit against Azir in the early stages, but once he gets a couple levels, he can just start to push the waves in Azir's face. There's not much he can do, just EQing through the wave. And now let's watch Malrang. Is he going to dive top? He just ran behind Larssen, out of vision, and I think Szygenda might be stacking a wave. He's not doing wolves. He's not doing Krugs. He's not taking away your camps. He's going top lane. And is he going to dive, or is he going to take away these Krugs? He's thinking about some kind of play. Let's see the top wave. It's actually pushing into Szygenda, so Adam's the one who's vulnerable. There's no dive, there's just a gank setup, but Adam knows something's up, and this is the sacrifice of Malrang's playstyle, the time investment. If he gets a kill, it's great. If he doesn't get anything, then he falls further and further behind.
Gonna wander back into his own jungle, grab the wolf camp, but very difficult. Again, gold, 100 to his advantage, but the XP difference is only gonna continue to mount. It's get harder and harder for him. Szygenda, though, level 5, full Fury stack. Difficult for Adam to walk up, but trading for Olaf is just so good. This is such a brutal matchup. Level 6, obviously, for Szygenda could start to change things back. Good trade there overall, but Adam getting the wave in, all he really needed.
Is Sheo gonna spot him? Yeah, he is. So, Malrang, no flash.
Gonna commit anyway. Gonna commit onto Adam. Now level 6 around the corner, he can get the stun. Adam, a little bit of a shield there, now trying to back away. Szygenda ready. Is the follow-up gonna come through? Stun gonna connect. Real patient here. But also now the Q is back up. Sheo just re-engaging. Nothing happens.
I think Szygenda didn't have E up. He would have E flash stunned Adam there and picked up the kill. I think he has Triumph as well, so Sheo wouldn't be able to respond, but I think he used his E on the wave to try to stop Adam from crashing in and to trade back onto him. He has TP, so he'll keep a pretty big lead here. The wave will hold in a great spot as well. A lot of topside focus here. Bot lane isolation. Tiamat first item for Crownie, so he just wants to push those waves in, going towards the Hydra, you have to imagine. So we'll see what kind of build he ends up getting. Nuke looking for the play onto Larssen, but won't pick it up.
Anything else? Yeah, overall a much quieter game than our previous one. Only 300 gold in favor of KOI, almost entirely due to the first blood. Actually, not the first blood, rather, but the CS lead that we're seeing on the top side for Szygenda. So able to grab a lot there as the wave frees. I think that wave will eventually crash back into Adam, and he'll grab a lot of that CS in return. But level 6, things are going to get more difficult to actually lock Adam down in a 2v1. Obviously, in terms of trading power, Next incredibly powerful in the level 6, but being able to just walk away from anything and everything as an Olaf is certainly going to make it pretty impossible for the Sejuani to make an impact.
Yeah, Malrang. One second, Larssen will find Sheo, just trying to get some vision around this crab. KOI just using information as much as possible. Get a little bit of damage down, but he won't be able to contest this. No push over the wall available. And Malrang will finish the red buff. Level 5 now, getting towards that level 6. Szygenda still has a freeze here. Not going to fight onto Adam. Will he use the ult here, Adam? No. Chooses not to.
I like the way Szygenda plays it, just staying as much in the wave as he can to maximize the healing there from the cold to meek. Difficult to out-trade the Olaf in sustained exchanges. Ulti now coming in for Crownie. Trymbi is going to have to body block. Labrov stepping forward. The slows hitting hard, but not really any opportunity for follow-up. As Trymbi now firing back Labrov. Almost overcommitting there, but will not get punished.
4 out of 4 on the bullets. Crownie lands them all, gets a lot of damage onto KOI's bot lane. Just trying to keep this push. Sheo hasn't been able to translate it into any kind of dragons yet. It's on towards the top side, constantly covering Adam. Olaf, of course, doesn't scale that great, but KOI's top side is quite short range. Ryze, Sejuani, Renekton, a Herald fight could be pretty good for them. Labrov playing similar to how Mickey did last game, just in their face, putting down towers, keeping them close to their own tower so that Crownie can keep pushing these waves in.
Definitely has been working well so far. You can see the ult there connecting from comp, but now on the top side of the map, Sheo in the area. Emote thrown down. The challenge.
Here comes the Q.
Renekton, notorious 2v2 monster, but it doesn't look like he's going to get a chance to escape. Just barely able to pop the ultimate, healing up just a little bit more. Flash now going down, but that should be the kill. Adam taking down Szygenda.
Good setup there from BDS. Sheo holding the Q. The only way Szygenda lives that maybe is if he flashes the initial Q from the Vine, reacts to it. Malrang was getting towards that level 6, was a little bit behind Sheo in the clear and in the experience, but he's going to sneak around this crab and start up Herald, knowing that the top jungle have no ults and knowing that Szygenda will be coming out of base. Trymbi's around. It should be a free Herald for them. We'll see if Sheo responds. He should know that something's up around here. A lot of pings from BDS towards the top side of the map. He can pick up a dragon, perhaps.
Trymbi already on the roam up as well. KOI for now going to be ahead of the clock. BDS may be able to respond with the dragon, but should be just a little bit behind in tempo overall, even though they did manage to get that kill on the top side of the map and even out that top lane matchup in terms of overall gold.
Yeah, there's the cross map, and we'll see where they place this Herald. Of course, Herald doesn't give 2 plates anymore. I think it gives around 1.5. It's around 1600 true damage, 1700 true damage. So you want to use it when the tower is low still, yes, but it won't instantly guarantee you those 2 plates, but the plates do give more gold. There's the cross map, like I just mentioned, and Malrang still hovering on this top side. He knows that entering the bot side of the map, there's nothing to be done, and Adam with no ghost and no ult means that they can pressure some kind of dive. Larssen can react really quickly with Malrang to take the blast cone. Doesn't have the realm warp, but Adam really afraid to walk up here knowing his jungler's on Drake. Sheo's going to base and run top as quickly as he can. And as much as we said it's like a bot-centric meta for push, a lot of focus on top side.
And it makes sense. You have an Olaf, Renekton on top. This is not your conventional top side matchup, but this is the nature of kind of this Olaf pick overall. Crownie walks forward, threatening the 4th shot here.
Good pressure from BDS's bot lane. Early rotation in the draft, Jhin, Heimerdinger on the 1-2 straight away, and this is the value. They can play in isolation with push, they can get a 10 to 15 CS lead and get plates, while BDS are focusing this top side. Malrang hovering around mid, maybe trying to get Larssen escorted. Maybe he thinks Larssen will be ganked here, and he will. Sheo has ult in 5 seconds. He's holding off for now.
Stepping up, getting a bit of poke there. All up coming out. Labrov trying to hold on to control, but he's taking a lot of poke in the interim. Credit to KOI. Holding on as best they can on the bottom side of the map. 14 CS advantage in favor of Crownie. I like the early itemization choice from the Tiamat you highlighted earlier, but just makes it that much easier to keep the pressure up against 2 champions who don't really have the best wave clear outside of Ezreal ult.
And not the best synergy either. There's not much kill pressure in an Ezreal Ashe lane. No ignite, no real instant follow-up, no poke either, because they can just put down Heimerdinger turrets and stand behind them and just keep the push. TP on comp to help out with that. Malrang is thinking about a gank on top side. Maybe Sheo's also doing the same, trying to counter gank one another. Basically, whoever goes first loses in those instances.
You see for Szygenda, it's so easy, especially because he's just been building a massive CS advantage, to just do these quick trades. Because Adam, ultimately, if he really wants to fire back, has to ult through the Ruthless Predator. But once you lose that ult, you really can't afford to all in future exchanges. And incredibly well played, and kind of what you would expect from 2 players who have played against each other so many times, and especially with Adam on a signature pick. If Szygenda had not come from the LFL, maybe he wouldn't have been prepared for this, but he has that experience. He's played in this league. Adam is a player that he's had to give that respect to, that he has to learn this matchup for. If you're in a league without Adam in it, you probably don't practice against Olaf.
Definitely.
Probably never.
And that's why it's such a rarity and such a thing you have to be careful for these pocket picks. But, I mean, look at the CS lead. Almost doubling the CS of Adam right now, despite a couple ganks from Sheo, a couple focus up there. They managed to get the Drake. Still Herald in Malrang's back pocket. Mid or top is probably the best place to put it down. There's no real world where KOI can get any kind of bot push, but Trymbi's level 6, so we might start seeing some cross-map arrows towards top side. Not the most amount of value, because of course Olaf can just ult through it, but onto things like the Azir, if Ryze can follow up with his chain CC, with the Rune Prism, with the Sejuani, well, that's when the lockdown will start to come through. There's the Blade of the Ruined King for Szygenda as well, so this top matchup will start swinging in the Renekton's favor even more.
Gonna get harder and harder. Of course, again, big first match here, playing against former opponent in Adam. Really wanted to make your mark on the top side, replacing Odoamne. Big shoes to fill, but has been doing incredibly well so far with the support of Malrang. Both junglers spending a decent amount of time top, and honestly, overall, a very quiet game. 12.5 minutes in, much slower than our previous one. Both sides seemingly content to scale up. You got a Ryze on one side, you got an Azir on the other. Never a bad choice.
Yeah. Scaling not too bad for either side. I think Trymbi's hovering out of vision there. I can see him on the minimap looking for an arrow, but now he's going to come back to help out Comp.
Brock has to be careful here, flashing away from the arrow. Now going to use an ult of his own. Trymbi getting slowed up, but there's no follow-up there. Overall, very positive for KOI.
Nice sidestep, but Szygenda might be in trouble. Both mid laners are hovering around. There's the Herald place for Szygenda. BDS are just here to defend the play. The Herald crash will come in. I don't think there'll be a fight. Whoever goes in, but Larsen's showing on mid-wave now. This could be a window if the Azir decides to turn around, but no, it's just going to be a 2v2 for now.
Nook doesn't want to commit. Wants to be back in mid lane to catch that wave. Makes a lot of sense. And it's just so hard because if they're not under tower, Szygenda and Malrang should just win the 2v2 pretty easily. Stun coming out there.
That's the empowered W with Blade. It can do so much damage. Auto attack to death with the Blade. And Dragon spawning in 50 seconds. A bit of a quiet game in terms of kills, but a lot of focus on this top side. A lot of focus on these volatile champs like the Olaf and the Renekton. The reason they're volatile, of course, is because their scaling is just bad. So their strongest point is now, so they need to get ahead.
Never heard anyone put it so simply before. Usually it's like because they're so powerful early game, unless, you know, they try to frame it in the positive way.
No,
I like your glass half empty, because they're really bad late game.
Yeah, straight as it goes. There's a Radiant Virtue picked up from Malrang. Nice new item. Rod of Ages for Larssen, gonna start stacking. Mythic slowly coming in across the board. Szygenda gonna find Adam. Doesn't want to take the fight just yet. Wants to stack up that Rage Bar.
Here's a question for you, Caedrel. We're 14 seconds until the Ocean Drake.
40.
Not to get too political here, but when the objective vote pops up here for KOI, are you voting yes or no?
I think Larssen might drop an FF vote in a second. He's in trouble.
I don't know if he's FFing quite yet, but he's definitely taking a lot of shots here. Realm Orb coming out. Just gets pushed back.
1 out of 5 on the green, I can tell you that for a fact.
Right there.
Larssen face checking into the bush of Sheo. Does KOI try to fight this anyway? They're posturing for a 3v4. Malrang doesn't really have anything else to do. He's already showed, so they may as well fish for something. Arrow's not up though. Could just look for a steal.
On the smite.
Malrang just walks in.
Walk in, taking a lot of damage. Ult just goes completely wide. Sheo able to secure the objective, but Comp and Trymbi now trying to follow up. Labrov has been caught out though, at least trade 1 for 1 in the kills. And meanwhile on the top side, we got a 1v1. Szygenda coming out on top quite easily, but Adam now fully committing for the exchange. Ulti traded. CC immune Olaf, but he just flashes out to safety. Summoner spell for summoner spell. In the long run, however, that ghost is going to be up much sooner.
Yep, it is. And I think Szygenda will have the pressure in the lane now because he can lifesteal off the wave as Adam has to give it up because of the mana situation. But I'm surprised BDS gave a kill over to KOI there. They were in a 4v3. They could have been the ones to step up, but they were lacking a few ultimates. They didn't have the Azir, the Vi, the Jhin ult. There was nothing really to work with, so they couldn't pressure away the 3-man squadron of KOI. And they do get a kill for the Dragon. Nice try on the steal by Malrang. As we look at the face check from Larssen here, thinking maybe he can help his bot jungle get some vision on the Drake.
He's Robin Hood, he's having a great time. Little does he know, Sheriff Nottingham, right on the opposite side of the wall, shooting him.
Taken out instantly. And let's look at it, because Malrang goes to the steal, but no ultimates, so they can't really stop the 4v3. Maybe Labrov's just a bit too far forwards. Maybe he's the one thinking, he lands the stun onto the Ashe. He's like, guys, let's go onto this Ashe. Looks like a free kill. And the rest of them are kind of like, well, no, we're good. They back away. Saves the flash.
Why do we even do team comms? Like, why do we even do mic check? You should just do the team comms for everybody. Here we go. Ulti going to connect. Cleanse now going to come out. Malrang potentially ready there for the follow-up. Oh,
Heimerdinger.
Has he been baited into the trap, but the lockdown for Comp is going to be big. Comp, where's the fancy footwork going to go? Heal for the extra movement speed. Labrov getting cut down. Can they get anything else back? Malrang, quick flash out to safety. Ulti not going to connect onto the Labrov. Both sides walking away. Hurt. No kills for either team.
That was an I will always love you moment there. Sheo blocks the Sejuani ult just in time with his Q, so Labrov could live. Didn't have the flash to escape. Support jungle of KOI have lockdown, but they don't have damage, so Labrov escapes. And the fighting dies down. But 2 dragons over to BDS is important. If they can get towards that Infernal Soul, KOI will start to struggle. All their pressure on this top side has left them in a hole with no dragons. So next dragon will be a very big fight. Items will start to be built. Prowler's Claw on the Renekton to lock down this ranged 3-man trio of the mid and bot side.
And I gotta say, I've been loving how Sheo's been playing this one. When we look back at his LFL summer stats, they weren't out of this world. They were okay, you know, pretty middling. But when you look at his actual impact in game, this guy was such a huge impact player. And we saw Yike debut in the previous game. I was hopeful that Sheo would be able to have a similar impact. I think thus far in this game, yes, he's behind Malrang in terms of individual build, but both of those assists, the dragon take as well, you know, a solid start. That said, though, the top side falling apart is definitely going to continue to cost the team more and more.
It is, and both these teams, their top side especially, top jungle, can only go forwards. There's no backing down. Because once the Olaf ults you, ooh! Nice dodge from the Azir.
I'm just loving Sheo keeps just tanking ults.
He does. First the Sejuani, now the Ashe ult. Got a magnet on him. Just colliding towards him. Nice dodge there by Nuke.
Did it for the team on that one. We'll just pretend. I think the concern that I have is that you hit a threshold with Olaf where it's really easy for the opposition to DPS check you, and that threshold for Renekton is when that Prowler's Claw is finished. I actually just don't think that there's anything you can do, and it's going to be a similarly difficult story for Crownie and Labrov in a team fight. If Renekton is ever on a flank, he will one-shot your backline if that is going to be the build.
He will. So much damage, but also quite squishy. The problem is then, once you... What BDS will then do is once the Prowler's Claw is finished, for example, or once they're approaching fights, they'll say to themselves, well, Sheo, are you going to use the Vi ult on Renekton so we can go front to back and take down this full lethality damage Renekton, or are you going to ult someone like Comp so we can gap close onto this Ashe and Ezreal and maybe dive on top of them with the Olaf? So we'll see how these two teams decide to play their comps in terms of front to back. Will the Renekton be flanking? Will they just be tanking damage and trying to get the Olaf down to buy time for Comp and Trymbi? But in 1 minute's time, we'll find out.
And range is a really interesting discussion here because we know the Azir pretty easily outranges the Ryze in fights. Ryze obviously can be a machine gun in terms of damage output, but how they position, how they play these fights is going to be massive, as is always the case. But Trymbi and Malrang, dynamic, icy duo here. Just looking for Freljord. This is a lore draft. They're lore drafting. It's a new strategy here in the LEC.
We want the color blue and Freljord. And Larssen picked Ryze and went green instead.
Icy Ezreal. Just saying. Larssen did kind of ruin it. Default skin is blue. Oh, he felt it. He felt the wind on his back.
Tiny bit bigger hitbox on the Jhin, and that would have landed. 20 seconds on Drake, though. We'll see if the arrow comes up in time. It's relatively short cooldown, but BDS playing for mid-prio here. Gonna start pushing Comp back, but he has so much range to clear the wave. First one's to the river. Szygenda's based. He hasn't got the Prowler's Claw yet, but will KOI be able to crack this setup and get towards this dragon, deny that soul point? Small gold lead, set up for BDS.
Soul's still a very powerful win condition, so this would be big for the team overall. The Herald now being dropped mid, a pressure point that most likely need to be responded to. Adam's still in the area, though, healing up courtesy of that red buff. KOI a little bit divided on what they want to be doing here. It looks like they've decided to move up into mid lane. But the Herald already gone means they don't really have a great push angle here. Larssen on the flank could be massive, but again, if they mistime this engage, very easy for BDS just to collapse on said flank. So for now, Dragon was not going to get started there, but Crownie, first shot here, pulling it out.
Larssen is really split. He's on bot Tribush. See if he rejoins his team or wants to realm move across. Flanking on Ryze. Yeah, I mean, he can look for it, but if they all turn up, he will die. Adam's also really split. This is awkward. You've got one member on either side, which are completely split off from the rest of the team.
Time to see how well they can execute the team fight here. Larssen off to the side. Ryze on the side is going to be big. Damage is huge, but instantly going to get taken down. Unstoppable, but not unkillable. Instant dragon take from the side of KOI. Complete confidence on the engage there.
So much damage. BDS's comp relies on singling out one target and just bursting them down, but I think they were a bit surprised that the Ryze is flanking them. Nuke got instantly rooted and couldn't respond. Are they realm mopping for a Nash rush here? Enemy jungler's dead. You've got Ryze. You should be able to burst it down rather quick.
I mean, your Renekton has Blade of the Rune King. They should be able to shred through this so incredibly quickly. 3 primary damage sources. The stacks now coming in fast for Malrang. Rob and Crownie waiting over the wall.
unless some miracle steal happens.
Lower. Can the steal come through? Will they be able to take it away? That's going to be the objective. Malrang might just fall for it, but the entire team leaping forward to body block. He's still taking, he's still burning. And he almost dies to the Tiamat. That could have been massive. Adam now chasing in. CC immune, but has to run back to safety. Oh, and the shutdown goes through!
I think he wasn't even aiming at Malrang. I think he was aiming at Comp, but then he E'd, and then he just didn't tank the bullet, and then it hit Malrang instead.
And we'll have to look at the replay because I didn't see if the W connected or if it was the Ravenous Hydra from the W hitting that finished him off there. But ultimately, hugely positive for KOI. No doubt in my mind that this is a big loss for BDS. Now going to go in, gets pushed right back, dashing through again.
Couldn't block the WE there. If he just got in front of him, he could have stopped the dash. No flash as well. He would have picked up the kill. Arrow, mate, it always hits Sheo. It's not even aimed at him half the time. And he's gonna look for a pick here. See if he can find Szygenda, but there's no one around. We'll pretend that didn't happen.
No, come on.
So here's the replay. I think they were just surprised that Larssen's on the flank.
Yeah,
Nuke gets instantly rooted, and he's just such an easy target. Sheo gets locked down. Look at his health bar, just shredded by the time he even tries to look for an ult. The rest of BDS are too far back. Their front to back damage is not that high if the Azir is forced out. And there's the Pet Evolve.
And this is one of the circumstances where I think that the team who pulls the trigger first in a fight is just always advantage. Because there's a world where all of BDS instantly turns and tries to one-shot Larssen, but because they're already on the back foot, because they're clearly unprepared, it just falls apart immediately.
So now the Baron Siege comes in. Mid-tier 1 will fall quite easily. A bit of a 4-1 setup here. Larssen will start to shadow Szygenda. You have to imagine Malcolm's pushing in waves. Deep vision for KOI. Look for mid and bot tier 2. No teleports. You don't really want to split up. No realm mob either. So you want to make sure you're within arm's reach of your members. Big stacking bot wave here. BDS will clear it out, but KOI will use this to go towards mid, you have to imagine.
Your name's not Sheo, and the arrow cannot hit you.
Oh, they're a bit late on the mid wave. You can see Comp trying to E forwards to get the buff onto the creeps. Crownie was the only one to clear the wave, but they'll get it. So
Ravenous Hydra really paying off here in terms of just raw wave clear, making it that much easier.
Ooh, big stun.
There's a big stun. The follow-up now. Fine, now going in there, looking to find one more pick. Larssen now taking down. This is a massive fight. This could just be everything for BDS. There are no objectives on the map, but if they can keep this momentum going, maybe, just maybe, they can break open mid.
Massive play there by Labrov. I think he realized that Comp and Trymbi taking a bit of a greedy path. Larssen following them as well, and Comp has the escape to E through mid-wave, but the grenade bouncing, just landing on both of them. Instant follow-up from the Vi. Adam being very cautious despite having the numbers events on the map that he could get picked off. Doesn't have the ult, doesn't have the ghost, and the Renekton Sejuani has a lot of lockdown. Huge play there from the Labrov to stop this siege. We'll see it again. Jhin ult comes in. He knows Larssen trying to run away, so I think he doesn't even know Trymbi's there. He's just aiming at Larssen. They don't actually have any vision on the Ashe. But when Sheo goes over, he says, well, that's just a free kill. And then the airborne hits onto Larssen as well. Very minute CC chain, but then the rest of BDS are here. Gets a little bit of a lockdown, and he can't get away.
Very well played. Labrov, that is one of the powers of the Heimerdinger. You can just fish.
Imagine if that hit Sheo, just bent around the Azir and just landed onto the Vi. I would just leave the case.
Just take up the headset and walk away.
I'm just gone.
I'm done. Nothing is real anymore. Nothing makes sense.
This is the BDS Death Brush. They're looking for the Ryze. Will Larssen walk up?
Ooh, Larssen. He was the flanker last time. Will the flanker become the flanked?
Look at the pings. I think that they have a pick onto the Azir. There's a blue orb in the back brush. Maybe they saw the Vi and the Heimerdinger. I'm not sure. They're 4-man collapsing on 3. Crownie's a bit far away. Oh no.
The gig is up, boys.
Run!
It's every man for himself. Sheo waiting, debating. TP now coming in. They're already committing. Look on the backside. Still has to be the one to deal so much damage. Lockdown on the Ryze is big. Larssen still standing strong, though. Now on the backside, it's Crownie firing shots. Everybody still standing now. 5 members strong. So many Heimerdinger turrets set up and ready to go. They're trying to burn down Szygenda, but a big Ezreal, and now the turn coming out. Adam forced to walk away. Crownie does not have any mana. He cannot follow this one up.
No mana.
Dash forward. Gale Force, 4-shot. Will not connect. Snare does flash, and he gets it.
Clean.
A little bit of style to finish that one off.
It's a 1-for-1. It's so hard for either of these teams to walk in. You saw KOI try initially, excuse me. There were so many Heimerdinger turrets. The Heimerdinger ult turret as well. They couldn't get the damage in. Szygenda didn't even want to dash forwards. And then when BDS commit, KOI are the ones who turn onto the Vi. So whoever commits first, it just feels so tough to actually lock down a single target. But in the end, it's a 1-for-1. Good trade-off there. And they'll get this tower that they came for. They also looked for a pick. 1-for-1 and a tower. Dragon is up though. So Comp will pick that one up with the rest of KOI as they look for that tower to make sure the dragons are even across the board.
Infernal going to feel very good when you have so many carry threats in this team. 3 between the Ezreal, Ryze, and Renekton.
Oh, it's just to cancel a base maybe?
And this one will connect onto Crownie. Immediate cleanse because he doesn't know who is in the area.
I think it was a good cleanse because Larssen is in range for Realm Warp. He's level 16. I think he could have instantly Realm Warped on top of the Jhin, and he might have died because he has no flash and the Ryze has phase rush. So good decision there to just use the summoner and be safe. Has a shutdown as well. Baron spawning in 50 seconds. It could have been an absolute disaster on the map in terms of control. But here it is again. The blue orb does spot the Heimerdinger. So
oh no.
KOI did know that the play was happening. Oh, it doesn't check the bush. So close. So they send 4 up thinking there's only 2. They don't know Sheo's here. Maybe they saw him as well. But 4v3, numbers advantage. But look how many Heimer turrets get placed down on top of the ult one. The Azir dodges out despite getting hit by the Sejuani, dashes. Backs against the wall, turn onto the Ryze, and then wants Szygenda here. He wants to commit, but look how many towers there are. How does he jump onto the Jhin? He's just gonna get melted straight through, and then Sheo goes in, and they turn onto him.
Obviously, the rest of the fight plays out. You can see there's a lot of burst on the side of KOI. Really, the thing that makes this work for BDS Ultimate Crownie, playing with a lot of confidence. Gale Force, step back, baiting. Hits the W because there's really nowhere for Trymbi to go. The second he tries to step between the towers, it's guaranteed to land just enough mana to make it work there. But the thing I just have to say is the thing that makes Heimerdinger, I think, so obnoxious is the early Ryze buy, because then you're getting slowed. And yes, the turrets you can dash through as Renekton, which is a nice added bonus. You can reset, obviously, the dash cooldown on the slice and dice, but it's not enough to make it easy to get through all of those, because they don't do a ton of damage, but when he throws down the empowered one, more than enough to shift a 1v1 in your favor. Engage.
Just blocked it. I think he was aiming at Crownie there. No cleanse. Not a bad game state, though, I have to say, for BDS. The Azir is getting towards 3 items. The Jhin is getting towards 3 items. The Olaf's actually pretty tanky with this Jack-Show build, going towards Bramble. Even though the Renekton's building full damage still. So I think the Olaf might actually offer quite a bit in teamfights in terms of just soaking up damage to allow the Azir to find space. Here's the arrow, though. Trymbi looking for Crownie. I don't think he has Gale Force up. No, he doesn't. Or Cleanse. If that hit, he was dead. Important that he gets out there. KOI now trying to push forward, get some vision with that mid-wave in, but BDS's game state is not bad. I think if they set up a good fight, they should be able to make a comeback here. KOI has to be very careful.
Have to be patient, have to play well together, leverage the synergy that you built for 3 of the 5 in the LFL. These mid to late game states, Scrim's going to give you so much practice in the early game, mid game with this 5-stack. Late game's much harder, especially on stage. KOI has that practice. Szygenda really the only player who has not had that entire year of experience with this lineup.
Touched on it earlier on as well. KOI, formerly known as Rogue, was just so dominant in the best of 1. Regular season was their bread and butter. They had splits where they went 11-12-0 and then dropped their first game so long into the split. So hopefully they can keep up that consistency, because that's exactly what they're known for. Up against BDS here, we didn't really know what to expect. You can see the regular season scores on the side there. Slowly got so much better, especially with the roster in 2022. We'll see what BDS can do. They're putting up a fight now. 3 items on the Azir, level 16. Set up across the board, 1 minute 40 seconds on the next dragon. Baron's still up, a lot of vision contest on this top side. There's the Lord Dominic's for Crownie as well. So this is the point in the game where BDS want to take a fight.
Debating their options here, and again, setup is so crucial. If you're fighting into the Azir, if you're fighting into the Jhin and the Heimerdinger, things get so much easier for you overall. Trymbi will continue to fish with these Ashe arrows. Not even level 11 yet at this stage of the game.
I think they can start Baron and turn if they want to. The only problem is that little scuttled crab there is a pain. The scuttle vision and the Ashe ease, there's so many ways that KOI can check. They drop the top push as well to make sure they can get a mid-wave in, so Adam will have to go and collect that, but he's getting close to level 16 as well. Dragon up in 1 minute. Neither team would want to give that one up, put them on soul point. Very risky and dangerous to be in that position. There's a lot of back and forth of pushing in waves here and getting vision.
And we're into the, people call it like the chess game state, essentially, of League of Legends. Push a wave, lay down some vision, enemy team forced to respond. Really the only thing that makes this game state different than that chess state is the fact that we have Ashe arrows flying every 60 seconds or so, just to see if they can break what has been a very turn-based game for probably the last 10 minutes.
Crownie was molded by the Crownie comments. You can't hit him. Constantly dodging, but it's so crucial that he keeps dodging these arrows and none of them are landing. He can keep his cleansing, keep his flash, keep his life. Are they going to look for a fight here? There's a grenade.
Stun will not connect, just the slow. Trymbi able to make his way out of that one. I'm getting scarier and scarier, though. The early laning deficit definitely not hurting him anymore.
BDS are threatening a Baron here. If you go towards Dragon, you send 1 or 2 members, we're just going to instantly rush it down, and it will be quick with the Azir.
Azir, Heimer, Olaf. It's going to be a very quick Baron.
They're going to do it over the wall.
I like it.
Malrang saw the Vi charge into the pit. There's the Ashe as well. So BDS, this is the Baron start. Here comes the turn. Crownie. A bit split from the rest of the team, though.
Malrang stepping forward. 6K getting lower. When is the call going to be to turn and
flip it?
fight? Are they just going to try to bet everything on this? They just want to flip it. Now trying to burn it down, but Sheo's out of the pit. Sheo needs to go back in to try to spike this. Sheo charging the Q has to go back in, but they just give it. It's just a big leash, but now Adam, they're the meat grinder of the Olaf. Can he get anything done? Not today. KOI saying, thanks for the leash. Thanks for the fight.
What was that by BDS? They just tried to force the Baron, but there was only 3 people in the pit, so KOI just ran in, pushed them out, took it away, and it looked great. The Azir turned to get multiple people in the Emperor's Divide, but there's just not enough damage there. Crownie's not in the pit. And once the Azir goes in without the stopwatch, he's basically dead. So it's just on Adam to pick up the kills. KOI just handed it on a silver platter, a Baron and Soul Point.
Such a difficult situation. Obviously felt confident to start that up, but they'll look back at that and evaluate. Should they have turned? Should they have never started the Baron in the first place? All we know is that this, at the end of the day, was not the right call. KOI clearly prepared. BDS very much split. Yep. Massive damage from the Ezreal.
The Azir is just at the back of the pit. The only thing he can do here is just get out. Sheo gets hit by so many spells, he has to flash out. Crownie can't do anything. I mean, he can pop the ult, but there's no real auto attacks to do. Good knock here on the Emperor's Divide. Big changes in comp, good reaction time to E backwards. It looks like there's a sign of life for BDS, but Crownie can't get himself in the fight, and comp is just untouched.
I think the other big issue right now is Larssen is so strong. Not only does he do a ton of damage because he has the Frozen Heart, all this extra health coming in as well from the Roa, the Seraph Shield. Nuke is the only person that he hasn't itemized against yet, and the Azir doesn't have enough burst damage to kill this Ryze, and it takes so long. He's essentially can frontline in so many of these fights. You saw it, he tanked the entire Azir ult. He got hit by Adam multiple times, went down to what, 50% health? Yeah. So difficult for them to burst through Larssen before he starts taking out their backline.
Yeah, Ezreal, such a good pick into Vi and Olaf. So much range. It's really hard for BDS to commit onto him. He's got the E, he's got the flash, and by the time you've just been taken to Narnia, so you're just alone at that point when you're engaging on Vi. But here's another Baron for KOI. They made a bit of a mistake, a bit of a blunder when they had it the first time. They got caught out. Big play by Labrov to get BDS in a more stable state, but now they're in some kind of 1-1-3 setup, looking for these tier 2s on side lanes. They will crack them open, but will they crack open the base? A lot of wave clear on the side of BDS from the Azir.
Yeah, as well as the Ravenous Jhin. Still, of course, difficult to clear these Baron creeps.
Sheo.
To the top side.
The Renekton.
Maybe
No
they
flash.
can get this done, but the instant response is already coming out from KOI. Arrow goes a little bit wide. Nook now trying to walk away. Big damage going through. It means that tower should just fall on the bot side. In the meantime, Szygenda doing what he can. And the 2v1 trying to turn it back. Double dash through. Dashing back in. So much damage. They go golden. Szygenda, does he have the cooldowns? No, not quite. But he does have another life. Guardian Angel being procced. Adam already starting to walk away. This was not the fight they bargained for.
It's over.
KOI just looking to end the game. Comp stepping up. Manages to mark Labrov. The damage follow-up is not there, but Crownie and Nuke doing what they can to hold on for as long as possible. Szygenda just TPing right back into the action. KOI looking to win their first game of the season. Very close, very contentious mid-game, but KOI just kept finding these small advantages, and now they've blown the game wide open.
The Azir are doing work, though. They put up a second Nexus tower for the time being. I'm not sure if KOI can end. I'm not sure if they can push the advantage more. I thought Szygenda would just chase the Olaf and Vi all the way to the Nexus, but instead he based, allowing them to recall as well. So turns into a 5v5 instead of a 4v3. They have got the Soul Point, though. They've cracked open 2 inhibitors, and I think they'll be looking at the next dragon. Sheo will queue over here. Not sure if he wants to take this fight.
I don't think he does. He doesn't know the Renekton is waiting there in the darkness, but the Renekton is waiting there in the darkness. Adam spotted out by the Ezreal. Red buff taken away. And again, 10k gold lead. Comp. Big. Every AD in meta.
Good adjective. Comp.
It is big, because every AD in the meta was banned against him.
Yep.
They picked a very wonky bot lane in Ashe Ezreal, something I'm not used to seeing whatsoever. But despite the early pressure that a Jhin and Heimer should be able to put out, they kept it close. And now here in the mid game, they've been thriving. 399 CS, 203, fully built. An extra Zanyas, because why not? That item is so strong. Here comes Larssen and Szygenda. This should just be easy peasy. He's going to get pushed back, though. Finds a bit more space. Sheo now needs to make his way out. Realm Orb coming in, and the retreat is there. TP coming down, but will get interrupted.
What just happened? Larssen Realm Orbed Szygenda out. Then they canceled the TP onto Adam, who's TPing in front of Malrang. It's 2v3 on top side.
Fishing. That's the ulti down for the Heimerdinger. Malrang can just body block these shots. And again, BDS at this point are just fishing for anything, just trying to find some kind of advantage. The root has taken hold. Adam backing off. Crownie, Gale forcing in, desperate to get anything done. Malrang ticking away. Arrow's going to connect. Adam forced to ult and run back to safety. Larssen on the flank once more. You're now going to be in trouble forcing the flash out as well. BDS are losing so many tiny advantages, and here comes Renekton. 1 dash forward, now going to go in with the Prowlers as well, and just instantly takes them down. Trymbi following up, and there it is. The final fight for BDS, not the one that they wanted, but the one that they will get as KOI move in to break down the Nexus. Taking their time in the fountain, adding insult to injury, and Sheo just doing what he can. But Larssen's a tanky boy, and he's a fast boy as well with this phase rush. They're not ending the game. It's like ARAM.
Damage farming.
They say we go again. Stats. There it is. We'll go.
There it is. Win for KOI. Even Comp had a guard. He had a Zhonya's towards the end there. So even if they managed to get on top of him, he had a Zhonya's. There was no real way BDS could get on top of Comp. He was playing the range so fantastically, and that's the consistency you get out of one of the best AD carries Europe has to offer. A little bit of a rocky road, especially in that mid to late game, but KOI coming out on top. They got the Baron, kept a couple of hiccups around the Baron, but then this BDS play just to give them a Baron, just kind of saying, we're going to start it in turn, but the turn was not locked in enough for a lead, and KOI punish it. And you can't make mistakes against a team like KOI.
Absolutely cannot. They have the experience to punish, to play those mid to late game scenarios, even with some of the younger players on the roster. And I think an excellent debut for Szygenda. Looking pretty solid on the Renekton versus Olaf, something he's probably pretty comfortable on given his time and tenure in the LFL, but overall exactly what you wanted to see. And for both of our super veteran lineups that we've seen so far today, both for G2 and for KOI, the new blood looking good, looking solid, which is, if you're a fan of those teams, exactly what you want to see. Of course, again, we talked about it, one game, not the biggest sample size. It's best of one. It doesn't mean everything. It doesn't mean nothing either. Definitely closer to the nothing side.
Yeah, I think the best takeaway for me there is Szygenda's lane phase was just really strong. Despite a couple ganks from, level 2 gank from Malrang, there was matching ganks from Sheo as well, so it was kind of even across the board, but his wave control was great against the Olaf. The Olaf wants you to push into him so he can try to punish you as you try to crash waves, but every time you looked top, the wave was either coming into him or it was frozen next to his tower, so there was no room for Adam to punish. And Adam was constantly thinking if Malrang was top, then he could die trying to push out this wave, so good debut game there for Szygenda on KOI. Of course, we have seen him in the ADC before under Vitality. Had his stint through the ERLs, and he's looking good. G2 looking a bit cleaner, I have to say. But you never know what kind of firepower BDS can bring. You know, maybe this is a big level up, a big step up. A couple mistakes in the mid to late game, though, and that just comes from a lot of experience.
And credit to BDS for punishing when they found opportunities. Labrov finding the excellent grenade over the wall there to take out Larssen in the exchange. And ultimately, BDS will probably review the entire game, and it's easy as a fan to look back to just the Baron and kind of say, this is the moment where it clearly fell apart, but it was such a slow, controlled mid-game, and that is such a difficult situation to play out because I feel like you feel this pressure to do something, and we see so many players crack under that pressure, and KOI did not crack. You can vote at LEC on Twitter for your player of the game. Candidates are Malrang, Larssen, or Comp. Let us know who you think. For now, though, let's send it over on stage with Laure and the victorious Trymbi.
Thank you, Drakos. Trymbi, thank you for joining me as well. Congrats on taking the first game. You were just telling me that you thought the game was a bit boring from your perspective. Can you elaborate on that, please?
I mean, if you play Ashe like this, and then there's like not much happening, but we got like good trades, we got bad trades, and then it's like, then the game kind of stagnated in the sense that they were just playing topside. My boys were playing topside. I came one time to get the Herald, and then I'm like, you know, just chilling with Ezreal scaling. So there's not much to do unless I'm like doing like crazy Ashe ults, etc. But on top lane, they have Olaf, so he would just ult. Like there's nothing I can do, pretty much. And then there's Azir coming with Mercs, so yeah, it was kind of boring, but at the end of the day, it was also a lot of fun because I could like throw arrows in and there and just help my team, right?
Ashe is one of the fun picks we see on bot lane right now because on Twitter for the whole week, people were complaining about Lucian, Nami, Zeri, Yuumi. I'm glad that we didn't see any of them so far in the LEC, but tell me a bit more about Ashe and if we can expect that it's going to be one of the rising picks in the LEC as well.
I'm not sure if in LEC. I know that in Korean ladder, they play a lot of Ashe support, and that's why I kind of like to play it too. It's like really obnoxious early levels with the Hell of Blades and all. But I feel like in EU, it's not that important to win lane right now, so it's not. It depends, obviously, on the lanes. For instance, the G2 game, right, when like lane was like pretty important. But yeah, overall, it's like just kind of trying to just get some arrows in and there, try to trade well, so you can have some pressure from bot side. We didn't have it, but also we're playing like Ezreal with TP, first strike, we're like pretty much scaling, and then we have like Jhin, you know? So it's like, it's pretty fun, it was pretty chill after all.
We'll see how the meta develops. Of course, it's still very early to make predictions. A bit more about you as a player, but also with KOI, because minus the name change, you're coming back as the LEC Summer Champion. So tell me how your title affected you, and how do you think it's gonna help you play also good in the LEC this year?
I mean, there's for sure self-confidence, like rises up right instantly after you win the LEC, and it's like, you know, it's like something that not many people got to do, so that's obviously nice. But if I have to be honest, it's not as nice as I thought it would be this year. I think that it's not, you know, it's not like I'm been playing like really bad or something. It's like, you know, you have to get back there again, and it's not easy. Teams are getting better. Teams are evolving in a way, like so many changes, right? And we are kind of pretty much the only team that did not make much changes. And we still need to perform and get better and better and better. And for now, it's been shaky, for sure. It's like fine in scrims, but you know, we're like not top. We're not on top of the world. So for sure, like next 2 games will be important, and overall just trying to make sure we are in a good shape, because right now the most important is like read the meta well and be able to be prepared, because in 2 weeks I might not be here anymore for like, you know, another like for next split. So I really we need to step up, all of us, to like make it work for sure.
If anything, it feels like getting a title is just setting up expectations for yourself and what's coming. A couple words on Szygenda, because he's joining the desk right now. You were mentioning the dynamic for KOI. How is it going to change compared to last year?
Matthias is a bit of a specific person. He's he likes to joke a lot. He is kind of the guy that takes a lot of stuff and also tries whatever he possibly can. So that's like nice. He like for sure tries his best to accommodate in the current state. And also it's like not easy, right? Because like before with Odo, we kind of played a specific playstyle that obviously worked for us the best. And right now we have to shake things up. We have to make sure that he feels also comfortable, because he might look like a griefer sometimes, but it's us who grieve him. So, you know, it's like we need to make sure that we help him out. But this game, he played really well. I think that he was doing a lot of good stuff. And yeah, I'm proud that, you know, he spoke up during the draft. He like said what he wants, and we made it work. And I'm happy for that.
All right, well, looking forward to seeing more from him and from KOI as well. Nice color, they suit you really well.
KOI, nice.
Trymbi, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.
And Sjokz, back to you for postgame.
Thank you so much, Laure. And we actually have Szygenda with us, so that is perfectly set up by you. You don't have an in-ear, though, and I am telling the truth. So basically, Trymbi was saying how he's really happy to work with you, how you have... when they played with Odo, they had a very specific play style, but now maybe you have to find out what's more comfortable for you. He also said that if you're griefing, it's actually the team that is griefing, and I guess you agree with that?
I will agree 100%. I'm always playing perfect, and the boys are trolling.
Okay, perfect. Regardless, though, he was also asked about how he feels about KOI's level overall. When you look at the way you think you've performed in scrims and now this first game on stage, how happy are you as to where you are right now?
Well, I've seen like a lot on Twitter and this stuff. I follow like tier list predictions. Everyone thinks we're like the best, but in scrims, we're really not the best. Right now, in the start of the split, I was mind blown how bad we were. It's like getting better and better day by day, and I think we'll become really good again. But they have to get used to me playing instead of Odo for sure. He was like always chilling, and I like to fight a lot usually. So yeah, right now we have dirty inders, but I think it will become really great.
I was going to say, because having watched you for a long time, you're very adamant about resources, especially in Vitality B. It was the Szygenda and Diplex show for the most part. Coming into KOI now, who was really good playing through the bot lane, how is the stylistic of this team changing with you coming in there? Is it just like always you and that hyper carry, or are you not that one-dimensional? What do you feel like as a team right now?
It's like, right now, I think bot lane is OP, so we try to not give like too many resources to me, because bot lane is just broken, so we cannot like only be top, but yeah, I'm down for both styles, and the team is down for both styles at the moment to see what will work out.
Okay, we do have a replay, I think. We want to look at that one. It's from the level 2 top gank. So basically playing with Malrang is something I want to ask you about because, of course, if we watch him, he's sometimes pretty crazy. But talk us through this one.
Well, in Champ Select, when they locked Olaf, he's like, we can gank top level 2. Then in Champ Select, or like when loading screen, we see he has Ghost, and then it's like, okay, we go top level 2. So I just played to like trade level 1 a lot, and Adam is like, he likes to trade, so I know he will go for it, and then we just know we can kill.
This is so funny, because VoD was talking in the green room when we were going through this, and when you blinded Renekton, they came in with Olaf. VoD was literally just joking. You just know Malrang's already saying he's coming top level 2. No one's going to expect it. Oh my word. Yeah, crazy stuff to come through from Malrang.
I guess that makes you happy then.
I love it. Like, Malrang is so nice. If I call him, he's there. If I don't call him, he's there. He's always there. I don't know. He's like so nice.
Oh my god, I love it. Now you said it already, right? A different kind of playstyle. Aside from that, I think it's also maybe it could be stressful, I guess, because Odoamne is a very loved person, of course, in the community, but also specifically on KOI/Rogue, who won their first title. How are you kind of dealing with that? Because for you, none of this is your fault, of course. You just came in and you're playing, but has that been hard to adjust to?
Well, we just won our first game, so no one will like flame me yet. But I think maybe it will hurt me if I in too much and they'll be like, bring Odo back. Maybe it will hurt. I don't know. We'll have to see. But it's like for now it seems good, and the teammates seems to like me, so I'm happy.
It's been a long way for you as well. Like you had to go back. Obviously, you were in the LEC with Vitality in the beginning. And really, I don't want to talk about the team situation, also not about the team situation right now. The journey from you from Vitality down to the Academy and now back up to KOI, what do you feel like you as an individual, as a top laner, what's different from you now than as to what it was back then when some people may have seen you on the stage?
I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of the same. I'm just like better looking. I don't know.
That's great. I mean, sure.
Szygenda before and after LEC got more fit. There you have it.
And actually winning games.
Yeah.
Maybe this time around.
Perhaps, yeah.
More than before. Oh, I love this. Thank you so much, Szygenda. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
On your first win and also a really fun interview at the desk. Coming up, though, we'll preview Evie and Team Heretic's debut in the LEC versus Astralis with a special game together with my analysts. Stay tuned.